Hi, and welcome back to Bots and Beyond. Another great episode lined up, as always. Another fantastic guest, an American guest this time, somebody who I came across as part of another podcast stroke event that I have spoken at, Irene, over at Sugar Talks. And I saw Kate and I thought, what a fantastic guest. I'd love to get her on Bots and Beyond. So, hi, Kate.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Yes, I enjoyed watching your interview with Irene as well. It is really fun to be on her show, and I'm glad to be on yours.
Excellent. No, thank you. And always good to kind of, to cross-pollinate across the various different shows that are all talking about, digital data transformation, etc. So great to have you on. Now, we've spoken a few times now since that Sugar Talks episode. So I know a little bit about you, but for the rest of the audience, and is standard for our Bots and Beyond guests, if you can just let everybody else know who you are, what you do, and more importantly, why you do it.
Sure thing. So yeah, I work for a startup called Vanti. It's an Israeli-based or founded company back in 2019. And I joined in November of last year. And my responsibility is growing the business in the Americas. It's an AI for manufacturing company. And yeah, it's just been a blast. So I guess the why I do it is I am very passionate about innovation. And I think that AI provides our world right now a very big opportunity to unlock a lot of innovation. And even with manufacturing specifically, there's, I think, even an extra case for that. A lot of cool things that I've seen firsthand at this point, and then a lot of hope for the future as to what we might be able to get to next. And that kind of stuff just really excites me. So does learning from other people, which is another reason why I do what I do. Is I'm in a sales role and I have been for a long time, and it's something I enjoy. Just as a curious person, I like to learn from others, and you get to meet a lot of really smart, diverse people with a lot of different experiences and knowledge. So it's just kind of nice that you get paid to meet people and learn about them, and also with a really cool technology like AI. So I guess that's the long and short of it.
I know that data and AI were not necessarily where you started your career. That was elsewhere. That was in an industry that nowhere near as cool, I would say, as data and AI. It was in oil and gas, right? Talk to us a little bit how that went, and I guess how you move from oil and gas into AI.
Yes. So exactly. It's funny. I think when I was in college, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do with my life. I went to school for industrial and manufacturing engineering, and at the time, the oil and gas industry seemed like a really good job for an engineer coming out of school. So it just seemed like something I wanted to do back then, but I wasn't really necessarily passionate about it per se. Really enjoy, like, to your point, it's not as cool as AI. I really like, I guess, yeah, selling industrial lubricant wasn't as glamorous as selling AI for manufacturing. So it was a nice change, I guess, to make that transition out. It took me some time to just decide what I did want to do, but I knew that I was looking for something that was a little bit more innovative than oil and gas, and also something that would make a big impact in changing the world versus, oil and gas is a bit more traditional and it's been around for a while. So I'm looking forward to the new opportunities that come with technology, and also hoping that the energy industry also evolves a little bit just for the sake of our future as well.
I can understand why selling industrial lubricant in comparison to changing the world through data and AI may well be a career change that you want to make. But that is quite the jump. Like, how do you go from sales into AI and data sales? Like, what was the kind of internal driver to want to make that move? And how easy was that?
So even to figure out what I wanted was hard. And that was just the start. But I did know I wanted not only like a change, and my interests were evolving, but so was, I guess, my personal motivations for change, and that I guess I was at my last company for 6 years. So I was starting to feel a little complacent, and I wanted a role that would really challenge me and one where I could make an impact. So not only was I trying to jump from oil and gas to tech, I was also trying to go from a massive company with, I don't know, at the time, I want to say 70,000 employees to a startup and it was a seed. They had only raised their seed round at that point when I joined. So quite a change. There were 20 people there when I joined, and now we're at 30. So a lot of growth in a half a year. That doesn't really happen in a really big company like the one I was at last. So that's like, I guess, that personal motivation on top of my interest for AI. I know we'll get to this question, I'm sure, because we spoke about it after my talk with Irene. But I love math. Like in school, going, I don't know, industrial engineering, we probably had at least one, if not two or three math courses or related to math courses every semester. So it's something that I find a lot of value to be able to explain our world and to create things. Breaking it down into mathematical models, I think, is a pretty cool concept. So I think AI and data analytics and the technology that's created from that has always been something that I care a lot about, just how it has such a massive reach. And I think it's going to transform our lives, and it is currently. But so all those things combined, I was trying to figure out how my skills could fit in that world. And so I think I managed to bridge that gap with my manufacturing experience. I guess maybe the oil and gas industry, it's I don't know, it's not as well known that, you have transferable skills when you're coming from selling industrial lubricant to how to sell AI. But I was able to prove that I could understand the technology well enough, apparently, through my interviews. And then it seemed to be an added value, actually, that I had already had 6 years working in industrial manufacturing facilities in North America, and that I worked with a lot of OEMs as well. So I guess my value that I had to offer was that I really understand my customers, and a lot of them are engineers and they're all in manufacturing. So yeah, I guess that's kind of how I took my interest and then that manufacturing background, and luckily I had a couple people on the other end of the interview who took a chance on me, and it's been a really great experience so far.
You've mentioned manufacturing a few times. How are you helping clients in the manufacturing space? I wouldn't necessarily say, historically at least, manufacturing has been a hotbed of activity. And again, I'm always thinking of the old factory, the analog machines. So kind of how is the world of data and AI transforming manufacturing? And what's the kind of role that you're playing in that?
Well, you're absolutely right. I'd say, we're not even that far away from your vision of what manufacturing is when it comes to their digital capabilities or their ability to capture data. But they are producing a lot of data, and I guess that's the thing. It's like the bigger the opportunity, the more reason they should be doing it, right? They're so far behind, some of them, that it is such a big opportunity as a result. So yeah, to your point, the manufacturing industries and companies that exist that are ready to go on an AI journey or are already successfully implementing AI at scale throughout their facilities, I'd say are very limited. However, at this point in time, in a McKinsey survey, a lot of manufacturers have come to the conclusion that they really see a value with AI and implementing that in their production. And I think for the ones that are doing it, they're seeing the value in quite a few ways, one of which Vanti does a really good job of is helping with that quality assurance of their units on the production line itself. And which I don't know, that's pretty cool if you think about it. If you're manufacturing, something like a medical device, you really care a lot about every single unit that leaves your facility to make sure that it is not defective. So AI can help ensure that. And ultimately that impacts us as consumers. we're having better quality products, and the manufacturers are, providing better quality products as well. Customer satisfaction is up. They also can use AI to eliminate waste and also to improve their throughput, to improve their cycle time, all of which will help their bottom line, which again will in turn impact us as consumers. We will get products hopefully a little bit more affordably. And also, when businesses have more money as a result of cost savings even, then they are able to in turn invest that money potentially. And when they're investing money, when they're making more money, they are also better enabled to go out and innovate. So it's just like this domino effect of value that comes from implementing technology throughout their facility. And like you said, it is a big gap between who's ready, who's started, and who's there. But that's just so much value to capture that I think will lead to great, tangible, measurable results financially with supply, and also in terms of that innovation component. It's going to unlock, I think, a lot of bandwidth for a lot of change in the next, couple years.
Let me just dig into that a little bit more. I'm kind of keen on figuring out whether you and the technology and the capability at Vanti are able to not just make use of data, but how are you helping to prove value? It's a really interesting one, like the whole kind of value realization. I mean, one of the big challenges of AI and data is, unless there's a tangible saving, i.e., because you are now doing something, you no longer have to spend something. That's quite easy to calculate, and often AI projects, data projects are never quite that clean cut, right? It's kind of, we're making a better prediction, or we're now able to cut, errors by X% as a result of X, Y, and Z. Like it's a bit more complex to prove value, or at least that's kind of what I found in wider business. Very simple when it's hey, X number of people do Y. They no longer do Y because we've got this new technology in place. Therefore, those people are now a saving. Now, it doesn't mean that the people leave the business, but hours back to the business, etc. Is there anything different that you're having to do, that you're having to think about in this world of manufacturing? Because in theory, the machines are still there. That's kind of a fixed cost. Probably working in the same factories. Like where are these savings? And are you able to not just help highlight where they might be through data, but actually help organizations realize them at Vanti? Is there some secret sauce there that you guys are delivering?
So I guess, yes, there's a couple of answers I have going through my head right now. I guess the first one is one very obvious application that shows a lot of value, and it's pretty quick and easy to demonstrate, is a computer vision application where basically if a customer, let's say this is a big use case in the printed circuit board industry or wafer processing, because they take a lot of pictures. So they produce a lot of data. They take a lot of pictures throughout their production line, basically for each and every unit that passes through a station after it's been processed, and in some cases before. And that can amount to, thousands of images a day. So in order to get any value from those thousands of images, you either need a lot of people looking at them, or you need a machine to be processing them, or you don't do anything with them. And so in a lot of cases, it's a mix of the two. A lot of times it's people are going back to review image data after they find defects at the end of the line, and they're looking for anomalies retroactively. And also a lot of images a lot of the data goes to waste. So where machines come in, and what Vanti can do, is essentially process those thousands of images in real time. And either if they're not labeled, so if it's an unsupervised situation, we don't know what a defect looks like, we can cluster images in order to help demonstrate, what is happening in real time. What if, maybe the camera was bumped. So you're going to get alerts that, hey, like there's another anomaly class that might be building, or it could be. And then you have the domain expert who's on the line who can go look at the clusters of the image data to then label each cluster as, okay, potentially defective, or nope, this was just data drift. And then that's what allows the value to come from the data in a way that prior you couldn't have that. So, and if the data is labeled, then you know in real time too, that's where the predictions come in. We know at the end of the line, we've already trained our model to understand which images will produce a defect even before it happens. So you then can scrap or rework whatever unit you were working on. So in both cases, you're getting a lot of value. In the first, you could be capturing image data and processing it in a way that helps you with your quality assurance, can help you with understanding a problem on your production line in real time if the machine malfunctions, and that's what's leading to these defects. All those things are definitely quantifiable and easy to prove. Then the second one is, okay, if you figure out at stage A, before you have to continue to process expensive material for 10 more stations, if you figure out at the first one that it's going to fail down the line, then you can scrap and rework it before you waste more material, time, and energy throughout that process. So in both cases, I think that you can see value. The key is working with the customer to make sure that they know some use cases where these applications would be beneficial for them. Because like data analytics, sometimes you can go down rabbit holes looking for things. It's also a type of design of experiment where you need to know a little bit in some cases to know exactly where the value will be obvious.
It's like, I think it's often seen that AI is some kind of panacea to finding and solving the world's problems, but you still need to really, and you'll know this as much as anybody, you still need to know a bit, in order to ensure that you're looking in the right place, that you have an idea of the types of problems that you're looking to solve. And then data may be the answer. It may not be, but it could well, the answers might be in the data. Which kind of brings me on to another question. And you raised it earlier on. You were just like, hey, I like data and analytics because it's math. I like AI because it's basically math. And again, I don't necessarily. I agree, right? It is basically math, and it can be very complex math, of course. But most people don't associate math with magic, right? Math is math, right? In fact, if it's anything, it's anti-magic, because you can see a lot of these things in a spreadsheet, on paper, you name it, right? So I know it's a passion of yours and something you like, math. You mentioned that earlier on, but just talk to us a little bit about kind of AI and math and kind of your views on that.
Sure, yeah. So I did make that comment that AI is essentially just math, and my goal in that wasn't necessarily to strip the magic from it, but I do agree it is a bit of an oversimplification and almost intentional, not necessarily to discredit any of the complexity that comes with AI and machine learning. More so, it's like to demystify some of those notions out there for people who might not be that familiar with AI. I think our Hollywood does a really good job of making AI seem a little scary. I don't know. I've actually never seen some of the movies, but I guess I have actually seen a bunch of them. I have never seen The Terminator, but I heard that's the worst. But even like The Matrix, Blade Runner, iRobot, these movies I think have become a bit of AI's enemy, in a sense of people, when I tell them, yeah, I work for an AI company, they kind of like look at me funny, like, why? That's not good. And I'm like, oh, it's for manufacturing though. It's not gonna, take over. So I said math because, and especially in this point in time, we're taking information like data, we're taking information data, and we're training models based on information that we have historically. That's how we train the models. Models, I guess, can learn in real time as well. But we're giving them the answers. They're calculating answers based on information that they were given. So it's not like free thinking like humans. It's a programmed mathematical approach to coming to a conclusion, I suppose. So in that sense, yes, saying it's just math is an oversimplification, but the bare bones of it really comes down to something a lot less human-like than, the robots depicted on the movies at this point in time.
I think we need to dig into one aspect there. You've never seen The Terminator?
No, I've not. I'll probably watch it tonight now.
Surely you can't work in AI and not have seen The Terminator. It is the end state that I think most people worry about. So obviously it's clearly a very old movie now, but it is a very good movie, or at least it was the last time I saw it. Times have changed, but anyway, I'm conscious that I think we've probably come to the end of today's episode. I think we went on a real whirlwind around math, oil and gas, industrial lubricant sales, data, AI, the future of manufacturing, and lots more in between. So I think we covered a lot today. So thank you, Kate.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Excellent. And I hope not only you enjoyed it, but I hope your mom and dad enjoyed it as well. So
I'm sure I'll hear. Thank you.
To Kate's dad, I hope she gets 5-star reviews from you this time.
I'll definitely love that call out.
So excellent. And thank you, Kate. Thank you, everybody else, for listening to another episode of Bots and Beyond. And we will speak to you again in another couple of weeks.